First of all, what's the last sort of few days been like, not knowing whether this game is going to be on or off?
I think on Tuesday there was a few whispers, weren't there, flying about, and then sort of before we knew it, it was confirmed. I don't think there was any doubts our end that it would go ahead. Obviously, there's probably a few people in the Southend end that would like it to have been called off for certain reasons, but like any game, whether it's this situation or due to weather or travel problems, we always plan that it's on, stay professional, because then you're not caught off guard, are you? So no, there was a little bit of doubt, I suppose, only because it came up in conversation, but I think we always knew deep down it was going to go ahead, and rightly so. And no point having a game on if you're not going to approach it right, and we're certainly looking to do that.
Has it been a little bit of a distraction at the beginning of the week?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think, like I said to you right at the start of the season, Liam, to be successful, you have to overcome all sorts of hurdles and barriers, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, this is. No, it wasn't even a barrier really. It was a discussion, and obviously Southend had their reasons for wanting it called off. The league have said it's on, so we get on with it and we look to get 3 points.
Do you sense that with the situation that Southend are obviously already in, with the threadbare squad and then these 3 international calls, that they probably did want the game off?
I can't speak for Southend and what they want or didn't want. All I'll say is that in the run that we're on, the way we're playing, we want to just keep that run going. We want to keep that run of games going. I think that later on down the line you're going to get games called off, sadly, due to weather and frozen pitches and snow and what have you. So the last thing anyone needs, whether it's us or Southend, is fixture pile-ups. Southend have had their issues from early season. I understand that takeover's not through yet. It's going through. That really isn't our problem at all. Our supporters have had their fair share of grumbles over the National League years, haven't they? And they're having a bit of overdue joy this season, and it's up to us as players, staff and management to make sure those joyous days continue.
On to Saturday then, does it, with the fact that they've got such a threadbare squad, does it sort of make it so much important that your squad and your subs could make the impact at the weekend?
Good point. No, I think the manager said this morning in training that the subs, in a weird way, are sometimes more important for Chesterfield because of how they can impact the game, and he likes to bring on his flair players, as he likes to call it. And I think you saw against Barnet, the ones who come on very rarely don't affect the game. They always come on and affect the game in a positive light, and we've got to continue that against Southend. I understand they haven't been able to fill their bench, or they haven't filled their bench recently at Southend, but their starting 11 is very strong, very strong. With their points, if they didn't have that deduction, they'd be up in the playoffs. So they're a good team. Let's not mix our words with that. They've got a very good 11, and a couple on the bench are strong as well. Now, I'm sure Kevin would want more than 13 or 14 to have available, and that's sadly the situation they're in. But we've targeted some of their threats this morning and highlighted them to the players. These are a good team, they're a good outfit. I'm sure Kev behind closed doors will be whispering playoffs and what have you, because for me, they certainly won't be down near the bottom come the end of the season.
I don't think there's anything in the National League rules about 3 international call-ups like there is in the EFL. With the quality of the National League growing year on year, do you think that's something that they may have to look at? I don't know at all. It's a tough one. It's a rare one, isn't it, to come across? Listen, as I say, it's not my place to say, but I think Southend and their problems go bigger than international call-ups. They've had that for a while. They've had a lot of issues for a while, off the field especially. And it looks like they're coming out the end of the dark tunnel now. But all our focus is on us. I don't think that too many people would have sympathy for Chesterfield, and I don't think many clubs in our league had sympathy for us when we were going through ownership difficulties years ago, before my time, by the way. So I don't want to speak out of place. So, yeah, I've got issue with Southend. My dad especially was very successful there. So there's a soft spot for the place where I grew up and the team, but. Yeah, all that sympathy sadly will go out the window, as it would if it was the other way around. As I say, Kev's done a really good job there. They'll be looking to get in the playoffs, and we've got to make sure that we turn up and this isn't a wounded animal we're playing. This is a very good football team. They've got a really good home record as well. I think they've won 7 out of 9.
and they've also got the best defensive home records. How tough a game is this going to be?
Very tough, and I think if they hadn't had lost at Altrincham, they'd still have the best goals against record in the table. They've got a centre forward who's very powerful, very all-round, ticks a lot of boxes. They play a formation that suits them, and it's nailed on, and they're organised, and they know what they're doing. And within that, they've got some good creative players, as well as some destroyers who can break up play and who know the league inside out. So, yeah, from 1 to 11 through their team, whatever that 1 to 11 is, and I know they haven't got an array of choices by all accounts, it'll be very strong. And like you say, they're good at the back, and they've got a goal scorer. So, from the outside looking in, and rightly so, they're a force to be reckoned with.
Do you think with the situation that they're in, with the threadbare squad and these call-ups and the transfer embargo and the points deduction, that Saturday everyone could come together and it could prove to be a really difficult afternoon in terms of it might be sort of an us versus them sort of mentality that they take on?
I think ever since they've got relegated into this league, there's always been an atmosphere there, whether it be a bit toxic against the off the field issues, or like you say, coming together of we're having a takeover coming soon and the good times are back. And as I say, that's for the Southend fans and that to know more about than myself. But they always get good crowds. They're like ourselves. They're a big ex-league club that want to get back into League Two. They're obviously going to have to do it the harder way this year with the points deduction. But yeah, I think we'll expect a good atmosphere. I think our players are used to good atmospheres. I think the town's right behind Kevin and his team and his squad. So it's going to be, it's going to be, I wouldn't say, they don't look at it as them against the world, but I certainly think that they see now they're going in the right direction. And I don't think they'll fear us coming into town. And we're certainly not going to go and taking their league position for granted, because we know with their points they'd be higher up in the league. But I think we've shown this year, whether it's Portsmouth live on the telly or Barnet here last week in front of nearly 10,000, we take each game as it comes. No one's getting carried away. There's a long way to go in this league. A lot of that stems from the manager and the calmness he brings to the players and us as staff within the week to keep everyone's feet on the ground. I feel as excited and as partisan as our supporters are and continue to be, there's an awareness that this league can kick you in the gut when you least expect it, and football can kick you in the gut. So we're certainly approaching every game like we would be if it was the FA Cup qualifying round, like I've said before, and that doesn't change for Southend.
Yeah, and how do you, now the dust has settled, sort of look back on that win against Barnet? Then you said you were going to have a look back at the 2 goals conceded and look at the both halves. What did you make of it overall?
It's really hard to be that critical, isn't it? I think the first goal, sadly, the lad just gets a run on his mark, a header goal. Second one was clearly offside. But listen, we've got the hindsight of watching it back on laptops and that, so I'm not going to go over on that one. And it's very hard, like even the manager said after in the dressing room, he criticised a few things and then said, but we would have taken it before the game. And I think you have to do that when you going into games and going for championships and going for promotions, is you have to take everything with a pinch of salt. You have to accept the balance between realism and optimism. And I think we've done that well this year, because every Monday morning we analyse stuff. And the ideal situation is that you analyse less as the season goes on. And one thing about us and the staff, and obviously it's led from the manager, is we analyse the good as well as the bad, and there's a lot of good at the moment.
It's the second time this season that you've won 7 games on the spin, so how pleased are you at that? Yeah,
it is. Listen, Liam, it's hard not to bring out the cliches of one game as it comes and all that, but it's no good not milking that sort of stat you've just given me, and then we don't turn up at Southend, and before you know it, we're at Woking, we don't turn up there. And you've got 0 points from 2 games, which, as we know in this league, could happen. Anything can happen. We're in a good vein of form. We're playing well. There's a belief within the dressing room, but there's also a calmness and an acceptance that anything can happen, and to make sure the worst doesn't happen, everyone has to turn up. Everyone has been turning up, and we've got to make sure that continues down in Essex on Saturday.
And just finally, in terms of squad news, obviously Joe Quigley came back last weekend and scored. Did he come through the game okay?
Yeah, come through okay. Training, like he always does, Joe, really well. Everyone's fit, everyone's ready to go. Obviously Tyrone, a few weeks away, as I like to say. And apart from that, we're going to take everyone down to to Southend. We're travelling Friday, and I think it's important that we keep everyone together because, like most of me post-match interviews say, anything can happen at any time, anyone can play at any given time, and we certainly haven't picked the team yet for Saturday.
Just on Tyrone, is he sort of able to do any running or anything like that? Yeah,
he's just doing some light stuff on the training ground with Ben the physio. Listen, you're not silly, Liam. You know it's obviously a lot more serious than a week out. But when I do say a few weeks, all jokes aside, we are likely to think hopefully it's within the 2 to 4 week bracket as opposed to like the 6, 7, 8 week bracket.